President Biden is going back to his ancestral roots for a trip that you could say is part work and part play. Mr. Biden landed in Belfast, Northern Ireland, Tuesday night. He will travel between there and the Republic of Ireland. In addition to the diplomatic importance of this trip, the visit is also personal for the president, who is expected to visit areas where his ancestors once lived more than 200 years ago. But Mr. Biden will also participate in more official affairs, meeting with the UK's Prime Minister and the President of Ireland. Ed O'Keefe is travelling with the president and joins us now. Ed, I can only imagine what this trip feels like personally for an O'Keefe, but tell me what this trip means personally for this president. It is a big deal for him.
It is a huge deal for him, Errol, as it is for any Irish American who gets to come back to the motherland or the fatherland. In this case, he's mixing the official with the very personal. Begins tomorrow with a speech at Ulster University here in Belfast designed to buoy and express support for the Good Friday agreements, that signature peace agreement that was signed 25 years ago this week after approval by the people of Ireland and Northern Ireland. It is a great risk these days due to an increase in potential violence among Catholics and Protestants here in Northern Ireland, and then an ongoing political stalemate that has meant that Northern Ireland hasn't had a full functioning government for more than 1 year. So he will meet with political leaders of the various parties here as well in Belfast. Before heading down to Ireland, he'll make a stop in County Louth, which is the smallest county in Ireland, but the one from which the Finnegans hail. That's his mother's side. He has a granddaughter named Finnegan. He will stop there in a few different locations. He has visited Ireland recently, at least, twice before. Once in 2016 when he was vice president, once in 2017 as a private citizen. There are reports that he told locals, "I'll be back as president." So he's making good this week on that promise amid other official meetings with Irish leaders on Thursday.
I'm confident we'll see an image of the president with a pint of Guinness before this is all said and done. But Ed, you mentioned this trip coinciding with the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, a landmark peace agreement a generation ago. Now, though, especially with being in the wake of Brexit, tensions, feelings are different than they were. Remind us what the U.S.'s role was in getting that agreement finalized and what's at stake now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that because I think this century, at least, viewers know sectarian conflict in the Middle East between Shiites and Sunnis in Iraq, or in other parts of the world. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, for example, is another good one. The situation between Ukrainians and Russians. But the issue here between Catholics and Protestants dominated the attention and the concern of Europe for more than 3 decades. And the United States increasingly come the 1980s when there were real serious discussions about trying to end the hostilities between Catholics who didn't want to be a part of the United Kingdom and Protestants who prefer to stay with it. Of course, the Good Friday Agreement was a compromise and an agreement approved by both sides of the island that, in essence, keeps Northern Ireland in the United Kingdom, but with a different form of government, and one that leaves open the possibility that if one day the people of Northern Ireland decided they wanted to unite with Ireland, that would be allowed. The problem is the complex power-sharing agreement that exists made things like Brexit, which was unforeseen 25 years ago, really complicated because it's still part of the United Kingdom here, but it shares that open border with Ireland, and it wants to be able to do so in order to maintain a good economy here. So that required even more negotiating. And it's the details of that that have caused this political stalemate that the president hopes tomorrow, his aides say he'd like to at least encourage them, sort this out, because there's a real sacred agreement that needs to be respected. And the hope is that him being here this week, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton coming later in the week to mark the anniversary as well, that the U.S. once again expressing support for something they helped make happen could potentially move the ball forward and ensure lasting peace.
Yeah, that lasting peace providing for economic opportunity, certainly on the minds of everyone watching this trip there in that region of the world. Ed O'Keefe in Belfast for us. Thank you, Ed.
Take care.